So you're making sales, you're getting clients, and you know that you've got a good thing going, but something still feels a little bit off. You're getting great clients and you're working with them, but they're not dream clients. You're making sales, but not quite the level that you think that you should be getting. And you're showing up well, but not as much as you feel like you could be or should be. And there's something kind of nagging of like, is this quite right? Am I missing something here? And that nagging feeling, that, my friend, is called brand misalignment or brand mismatch. Pick your phrase. And today I want to talk to you about how you can fix it, especially for those of you with personal brands. And I want to encourage you to stick around to the end because I'm going to share with you 5 really, really important questions that you can ask yourself to do a bit of a self-audit of your brand to work out where the holes might be for your visual brand. So hi, if we haven't met before, welcome to the Seriously in Business podcast. My name is Jackie and I am a graphic designer who is obsessed with helping business owners reach their potential through the power of branding and design. Branding and design isn't just some fluffy extra we have in business. It is one of the key foundational elements for how well and how quickly we scale our business. And I want to talk to you about that quite a lot today because a lot of personal brand businesses think that they have a marketing problem. They just need to market differently. They need to change the funnel. They need to use different wording. What they actually have is a branding problem, and more specifically, a visual brand problem, because your visual brand is often the first touch point that someone will see of your business and everything that they're seeing of your business as a filter. And that filter is helping them work out, is this business for me? What is their price point? What kind of person do they work with? What kind of vibe do they have? What is their level of experience? All of these things people are judging and ascertaining and filtering your business through when they see you, when they see your Instagram feed, when they see your website, when they see a random post when they're scrolling Instagram, when they see your flyer, whatever they're seeing of your business, they're making these judgments. They're filtering, is this business for me? Or is this business for somebody else? Or is this business new? Or is this business kind of amateur and a little bit scammy? Like, what vibe is someone getting when they look at your brand? And sometimes we kind of put all this effort into our marketing, which we should. Marketing is so important. But if we're not coupling that with really strategic design, we're never going to get as far as we should be. And for those 6-figure business owners and those of you ready to scale, this might be the thing that you're missing. And so I want to welcome you to part 1 of a 3-part series we're about to embark upon about personal branding and making sure that your personal brand is going to be bringing you and helping you to scale your business rather than capping you right where you are now. Because I want to share with you that what got you this far is unlikely to get you to the next level. If you created a brand at the start of your business, maybe you rebranded a couple of years ago, or maybe you've never really even sat down and properly thought of your brand because everything just kind of grew really quickly and you're like, yes, this is amazing, but something feels a bit stagnant now. Let's work on that personal brand so that this can be the next thing that helps you to grow, not the thing that holds you back. So first up, I want to walk you through the quiet symptoms of brand misalignment so you can kind of work out, is this you or is this not a you problem? Because often it's not going to be screaming at you with like sirens of like, branding is the issue. Because if you're already succeeding, you're not going to always realize what the problem is. You're going to be looking like, for me, I've got 1,000 different working bits and pieces in my business. I'm not sure exactly what the issue is at all times. But for me, I know it's not my personal brand. But I want to help you work out if personal branding is your particular issue. So let's ask ourselves some questions to work out if your brand just needs a little bit of tweaking and fixing to help you not just hum along, but to catapult through the ceiling that you're maybe feeling a little bit trapped by at the moment. Because if you're like a lot of the 6-figure business owners I talk to, their branding isn't bad. It's just not the thing that's going to help them to scale. And so let's talk about the symptoms. One symptom could be that you are getting a lot of inquiries, but they're not quite the right fit. They're almost there, or maybe they're just totally off. But you're like, why aren't I'm trying, I'm changing my messaging, I'm changing the way that I'm speaking, I'm changing this and that, I'm changing when I'm posting, but I'm still not quite getting the right caliber of clients. Your visual branding might be something that's playing a part in that. Another symptom might be that you're feeling embarrassed to send people to your Instagram or to your website or anything visual for your business, a sales page or anything. I remember a time in my business, I was feeling quite ashamed of my Instagram feed. I had built it off what I thought it should look like, not what it actually needed to be. And I would get people saying, oh, Jackie, what's your Instagram? I'd be like, no, don't go there. It sucks. I don't feel like this represents me or my business at all, and I feel embarrassed by it. So whether you're feeling that level of embarrassment or whether you're kind of just feeling something's a little bit off, that could be a bit of a symptom for you. Another symptom could be that you're getting compliments on your work. You're getting great testimonials from the clients you have worked with, but you're still not attracting as many clients as you should. You're like, you know what? I'm doing incredible work. I'm getting X, Y, and Z results for my clients. I am incredible. We've got a real groove going here, but the clients just aren't coming in as consistently as they should be. Your visual branding might be playing a part in that too. Another symptom could be that you are charging okay prices, but you're feeling ready to raise your prices, but there's something kind of stopping you. You're feeling like, I don't feel like people are going to see the value in this. I feel like people are going to question why on earth I'm charging this much for this service. A big part of that might be your visual brand, because if your visual brand isn't matching the kind of price point that you're sharing, it looks kind of cheap and you're charging thousands upon thousands of dollars for your service, it's going to mean that when someone comes to your page, they're going to say, oh, love the look of this gal. Might work with her. Read a couple of your posting. Yes, she's really on target of the kind of problems I'm struggling with. I can't wait to get coached by X, Y, or Z. And then they go to your website and they scroll to the sales page and they're scrolling like, yes, this sounds amazing. This sounds amazing. And they get to the price and they're like, whoa, hold your horses. Who does she think she is charging this much for this product? No, if you feel like people are feeling that, then chances are you're not going to be showing up confidently with your pricing. And secondly, you're not going to be getting people through the door because what they're seeing of your business doesn't align with the value that you're offering. So a big part of that could be your visual branding. If your visual branding looks affordable and cheap, but you're charging those premium prices, we need to fix something there. There's a misalignment. And another symptom could be if you have team in your business, maybe you've got a virtual assistant or you've got someone just helping you with graphics every now and then, or a content repurposing manager, whatever it is, and you feel like every piece of content that they're creating or every graphic they're making or every sales page they're working on or every lead magnet they're creating just isn't quite right. They're just not seeming to get the brand. Then chances are you either don't have a really great solid brand for them to even create with, so they're feeling really stuck every time they create, which by the way is making them take even longer to create your graphics and mean that they're charging you more and wasting your valuable time. But secondly is it means that you're often having to then be like, oh, this isn't right again. Then you have to go in, spend ages in Canva fiddling and trying to fix it when one, you might not even be happy with what you end up creating because you're not a graphic designer, and two, you're wasting a ton of time doing this that you should be doing spending on top level marketing activities and CEO things. Or three, your team finishes this design, but you don't have time until next week to actually look at it. So you're stopping the process and you could be getting 15 posts out on social media, but you're not proud of them. So you're not letting them get shared and you're not getting time to go in and fix them. And then there's this whole problem of not getting more clients because you're not showing up because you don't feel like you can, because you don't have the great graphics for it, but you can't work on it because you don't have the time or the expertise or even the clarity to do so in the first place. That kind of spiraled a little bit, but I want to illustrate to you why this is so important, because if you're sitting here thinking, yeah, I'm just going to put my branding off until next year, I'll do it later, then all of these problems are only going to compound. You're going to continue not getting clients. And if you continue not getting clients, I could talk about this for ages. I'm not going to. We're going to move on because I want to talk to you about what a branding alignment actually does look like. And I want to share with you some stories to help inspire you, help you to see that this is actually possible for you too. Because getting your branding right isn't just about choosing the prettiest color that you can find or the standout logo. It's about creating things that are going to connect, because when your branding connects, it's going to convert. So when your visual brand is aligned, firstly, your fonts, your colors, your layouts are going to reflect your personality and your authority. They're going to help create instant trust and a really emotional resonance with your dream audience, with your dream client, with that client that you're like, I really would like to work with this type of person. They're going to see your business and think, yes, this makes sense. The price she's charging, that makes sense. I really feel called to this business because she's just speaking to me. I've got an example to show you soon, but firstly, I want to share with you another example, and that's of my client, Ali Swift. We recently designed a graphic for her, and it was really beautiful. I'll pop a visual of it on the screen here for you so you can just see it. It's not like rocket science, but it is intentional. It's using her branding very intentionally. It's using really beautiful text layout to help capture attention and keep the post interesting, and it's using branding that's aligned to the vision and the message that she's sharing and the type of audience and person that she wants to connect with. Now I'm going to pop up a message that she sent me after she posted this on the screen, because she said that she loved the design. And don't worry, if you're listening to the podcast, just picture a really beautiful design. And she messaged me this. So the design that you did on my post today was loved hard and also led to 3 different DMs from spot on dream clients. Dancing emoji, because who wouldn't dance at that? That's the power of really great design. This is the power of not just ad hoc putting together graphics and not knowing what you're doing. This is the power of really intentional design coupled with incredible strategy and marketing. But if you've got incredible strategy and marketing, but you don't have great design to couple with it, your posts are going to get scrolled past. People are going to see it and think you're not a professional, you're not worth paying the incredible prices you're worthy of charging, etc., etc. So I want to remind you, let's make sure your fonts, your colors, your branding, and your layouts your business's vibe, your visual brand as a whole collectively calls to your dream client and attracts them because it is powerful when you get it right. Another thing that will happen when your visual brand is aligned is your Instagram grid, your website, and any graphics you're doing for your business, they feel cohesive. By cohesive, I mean that there is a really consistent journey across everything that you're doing. You haven't just got one vibe on your Instagram, a slightly different vibe on your website because it's a little bit outdated and you did it about 5 years ago, but you can't bother redoing it because it's a whole thing. And then a totally different brand on your lead magnet and your sales page. I often find this because as business owners, especially us online business owners, we're regularly putting out lead magnets and programs, and those kind of take on an idea of their own, but they're not really connected to our Instagram grid or they're not connected to our website. And there's this whole brand misalignment and uncohesion there, which means that when someone sees you on Instagram, that clicks across to your sales page for this particular offer that's incredible, but they look at it and think, oh, did I click on the right page? Is that quite right? Or maybe they've gone from your Instagram to your lead magnet and maybe that felt a little bit cohesive, but then they click from your lead magnet into your webinar, but that feels totally different and disconnected because you're using green over here, but then you started using pink for this one and you had really bold and standout fonts on Instagram, but then you go to your website and it's kind of like really beautiful with some sans serif and cursive text, and they're probably like, hold on, is this got the same vibe? I feel disconnected. I feel like this person over here was really punchy and holding to authenticity because maybe you've updated your Instagram look. But then when someone goes to your website, it feels really proper and like whimsical. People that are attracted to what your Instagram grid looks like aren't going to be the same people that resonate with that website look. So you're going to be losing clients. There's so many holes that we can start to patch up when we actually are really clear about what our visual brand needs to look like. Something that's a considered high-end personal brand, not a patchwork of random Canva templates that your VA found. And finally, an aligned visual brand means that you show up confidently. If you're a personal brand, you need to be your brand's biggest fan. You need to see your graphics and think, oh, I love this. Because if you don't, they're not going to be representative of you. You're not going to show up confidently, and your audience is either not going to understand what you're like from seeing your brand, and therefore when they go to work with you, it feels really misaligned, or you don't feel like showing up because it doesn't feel like you. If you're a personal brand, like, it makes no sense to put pictures of yourself or your heart and message and authority behind Instagram posts if the way that they actually look doesn't feel anything like you and you feel ashamed of them, or you feel like this just isn't what you're like. And if you're feeling those things, it means that you're being held back by it. And so the opposite of that is when you can show up really confidently and people online are finally seeing what you're like, what your authority is, and the value that you bring just from the way that you're showing up online, because it confidently and visually is aligned with what you are and who you are as a person. Alignment is when your visual identity not only looks like you, but it works for you. It sells for you. It feels like you, every single little pixel. I want to share with you a story now of a client named Sarah. Sarah, you can look her up, Sarah Greener. She is incredible, and she came to me with a brand. I'm going to put a picture on the screen now of what her brand looked like before we worked together. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll appreciate that. But pretty much it was red. It was bit bulky. If you were to look at this brand, you probably think, who is she targeting? Is it maybe men? Is it a kind of a corporate kind of business? It looked very clinical, and what she wanted it to be was really stand out, but what she got was not. And I'm so excited. I'm going to share with you what her brand now looks like in just a moment. Throughout that process, Sarah shared with me many times that what was on the outside of her business did not feel like it reflected what was on the inside. It felt like what she was putting out there in the world was totally different to what was actually happening when she was working with her clients, the transformations she was getting, the kind of people she was working with, the kind of way that she was serving them as a coach. And she felt like she created this amazing business, but her branding did not reflect that. And I still remember my first impressions when I saw that red and black brand. I was like, oh, I don't even know if I want to work with this person to create their brand. I don't know if we align in the kind of visuals that she might even like. But I was wrong, because her branding just wasn't representing her whatsoever. So we spent time getting to know her, who her target audience was, what kind of business she wanted to actually represent. And she had big dreams for her business. She like, I remember we were writing her mission statement, and it was just incredible. And the kind of people she wanted to work with was incredible. But her branding wasn't representing that at all. And so she even said to me that she was embarrassed of sending people to her website because it just didn't match the level of service that she was providing. And after working together, which didn't come without its mishaps, I remember we were about 3/4 of the way through the branding process. I was kind of just locking in her branding. We'd kind of done the research. I'm going to step you through the process I take my clients through in coming episodes, so stay tuned for that. But in essence, we took her through this whole process. We'd done all the research, we'd done all the mood boards, we created the logo and the brand. I was starting to apply it to all the different graphics. She said to me, Jackie, I'm not sure this is right. I'm having nightmares about this brand. But that, my friend, is why you should not do this alone. Because I was able to remind her that, Sarah, we've done all this groundwork. We know that this is going to be the perfect brand for your business. And I was able to hold her hand and show her what it actually looks like in practice. And it actually is the best move for her strategically. So thankfully, she went ahead with the rebrand, and and we stuck with our guns because we'd done the foundational work. We knew it was going to work. And now over a year later, Sarah can say, I'm going to read out exactly what she said, that her brand now feels like the brand that is an actual representation of her and her business. She feels like it's consistent, it's polished, and it's finally communicating the quality of what she offers. She says that she feels proud now and that it is her and that this is who we are and that people can feel what her brand is and what she's like, what it's like to work with her before they even talk to her. And she's listen to this. She says that she's seeing more of the right people reaching out, the people who are already sold before she even gets on a call with them. And she even sent me this message. I'll put a screenshot up on the screen. She said that she signed her first client today, not today, the day that she sent me the message, that only followed her because of the brand. There was no ads, no lead magnet, no referrals. They just saw the brand, followed her, and signed on as a client because they just were just so magnetized to her brand. And this last phrase I'm going to share with you that she said, I think really captures the importance of deep branding, not just picking a pretty color. She said that you didn't just make the brand look pretty, you helped us really figure out what we wanted to be known for and how to visually express that. And that was gold. So before I share with you these 5 questions I want you to ask yourself as a mini brand audit for yourself, I want you to remember that if you're sitting on brilliant offers, you've got deep expertise, you're a heart-led business, but your visual brand is still dressed for where you were maybe last month, last year, 5, 10 years ago, and not where you are now and where you want to be. Like your branding now shouldn't just reflect you now, it should reflect where you want to be in 5 years' time. Then this is your sign to start paying attention and maybe start to make some changes. Because your brand might not be broken, but it is holding you back. And so it's time to maybe make a few tweaks. And I'm going to share with you even next week of some tweaks that we can make to make sure we're not having to overhaul everything unless you want to, working out what parts of your brand need to go and working out what parts need to stay, because it's not always the best solution to burn everything to the ground, although we did that with Sarah and it was the best solution for her. So I'm going to help you work out what's the best solution for your business. All right, so let's get to those mini brand audit questions. These are the questions I want you to sit down and genuinely ask yourself, potentially even grab out a journal or just pause this podcast or video after I ask each question and give yourself just a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes to reflect on that question and work out, is this a real problem or am I just pretending this is a problem? Because it's not always going to be a problem for you, but if it is, I need to make sure you're addressing it. All right, so let's start. The first question is going to be, does my visual identity actually reflect the level my business is at now, or is it still stuck in startup mode? To think through, is the branding that I have now, does it actually reflect the kind of business I have now and want to have into the future, or is it stuck at where I started or where I was a few months ago or a few years ago? All right, question number 2. Do my colors, fonts, and graphics instantly convey the quality and the positioning of my offer? So can people see at a glance how great you are and the kind of price point you're going to be? Or is that kind of stuff hidden? Thirdly, when you look at your Instagram or your website or any particular graphics that you're sharing of your business regularly, are you proud to share it, or does it make you cringe a little? Because if you don't feel confident with your branding, you're not likely to be shouting it from the rooftops. And if you're not doing that, I can guarantee that you are slowing the growth of your business just from how confident you feel in the way that you're showing up with it. So think of that question too. Number 4, would my dream client land on my page and think, this is for me? Or would they keep scrolling? This one's really important too, because if your branding isn't really hitting a nerve with your ideal client, and I can tell you that can happen. Like I've had, like with Sarah's example, if they followed her just for her brand, or I've had people just like they've started working with me because I just loved the vibe of my brand. This is real stuff. This can happen for you, but if it's not happening yet, maybe it's time to change something. And number 5, the final question, is it visually clear that my offer is premium, or do people still seem surprised by my pricing? So really honing in on that idea of, if someone was to go to your website and scroll through your sales page or see your Instagram, when they get to the pricing point, are they going to be shocked, or is it going to make sense? Because it can make sense, and that's what your branding can really do for your business. So next week, I'm going to chat about how you can work out what parts of your brand to keep, what parts to get rid of, because it is so important that we get this right for your business. Because if you're ready to scale, we can't be just playing small. It's time to play big. If you're wanting support with your branding, I would absolutely love to invite you to work with me in the Co-Creation Design Club. I have a program where pretty much you and me will work together in a small group container where I'll step you through my entire process. I'll hold your hand through this process. I'll work with you and your team to make sure that the brand you create is going to stand the test of time. It's going to call to your dream client, and it's going to be something that your team can use so that you can step out of the bottleneck and start creating and high level thinking, so you can act as a CEO and your team can support you in the way that they want to as well. This program is designed as a co-creation model. It's not me doing it all for you. It's me equipping you and your team to make sure you have autonomy, you have flexibility, and you have the ability to grow your business now and into the future. All right, I'll see you next week for another episode. Bye.